Welcome to Spiritual Direction and Soul Care Sunday Live. So glad that you're with us this Sunday as Sunday Live returns. And want to just invite you to come join our growing community. If you're watching on YouTube or elsewhere, come join us over at our Facebook page. Would love to get to know you more. Let's become friends on Facebook and let's talk and journey together. I just don't want anybody to walk through life alone. And I am really committed to helping people discover what it means to live lives of joy and peace and gain an imagination for transformation and healing as we walk through the spiritual journey together. So today, as we dive in back in on Sunday Live, I want us to talk about what it means for us to become a healing presence. What does it mean for us to become a healing presence? You've probably heard me say before, maybe you're familiar with the writer Meister Eckhart, but Meister Eckhart said that the process of finding God in the soul, the process of becoming more deeply aligned with what is eternal and true and unshakable, is not a process of addition, but it's a process of subtraction. It doesn't mean that we load up and add on in our current culture, especially. We really prioritize gaining, acquiring, grabbing a hold of things. This is what it means to live in the system that we live of consumerism, right? Where we think if we acquire enough, we'll be okay. But the spiritual journey is the exact opposite. The spiritual journey is one where we learn to let go, to make room for what lasts, right? We learn to let go to make room for what lasts. And one of the most basic and most powerful ways that we can become a healing presence is when we learn to let go of judgment. When we learn to let go of judgment so that we make room for compassion. We let go of judgment so we can make room for curiosity. We let go of judgment so that we can make room for just simply enjoying what is here in front of us right now. Um, One of the things that we're always taught, right? Like it's a cliche, right? Don't judge a book by its cover. And yet, despite our best efforts, we still fall into that trap. We judge all the time. And part of that is just part of the underside of being a human being who has awareness, right? We're constantly assessing everything around us because we come from backgrounds where we needed to learn how to assess what's happening around us so that we could survive. It's a survival adaptation, right? But now, in a more sophisticated space, in modern society, and as we progress as human beings, that assessing, judging capacity that, in one sense, helps us survive and keeps us alive and protects us, also then closes us off from other people. It helps us shut down and throw up walls, and judgment then takes away making room for compassion and deeper connection with people, because we need to connect too. We need connection for a sense of survival. We need a connection for a sense of vital growth and meaning and health and vitality and abundance and what it means to be fully alive, right? So we need to let go of this judging. We need to know when judging and assessing and scrutinizing no longer is helping us with surviving. Right? I mean, when we think about judging others, right, what we're really just talking about is unfairly jumping to conclusions based on limited understandings, or jumping to conclusions about things because we think we're owed information when other people's lives are not our business, right? It's also like when we see other people through the eyes of bias and prejudice, the way our culture, our religion, our families has taught us to um, assess and judge what is good, right, wrong, helpful, not helpful, right? So that kind of judging is a kind of way of punishing other people because they don't check boxes of the person that we think they should be or how we think humans should be, right? So when we judge people, we reduce them to just a handful of characteristics or one moment and draw a negative conclusion about them. And that leads to reducing that, making that person an object, right? Making them a thing. They become, it dehumanizes them, and it leads to condemnation and vilification, right? Which then gives us this flush of righteousness, like that must mean I'm okay, right? This is where religion gets really toxic, right? Because religion is so much about often oriented outward of judging everyone else so that the people who are doing the judging can feel like we're okay, right? So the key to being a healing presence, and there's an irony there, right? Right? Like religion and spirituality is supposed to provide healing and claims to offer healing. But if it leads toward judgment, if it leads toward separation, if it leads toward holding people at arm's length, if it leads toward separation and division, that's not healing, right? So to be a healing presence, it's critical we let go of judgment to make room for compassion. Right. So here's some tidbits of wisdom. I've got like 7 things that I want you to remember. And these are 7 pieces of wisdom, of truth, of healing truth that help cultivate a posture of compassion, that help us let go of judgment, to just lay it down and lay aside. Okay. So let's start with the first one. First one is this. You don't know what's going on inside another person. I don't know what's going on inside another person. Mind reading is not a human capacity, right? We don't know their story. So how many times have you been asked, hey, how you doing? And you said, fine, even though you weren't. We all know this is true, right? We all can mask our pain. We all have moments or seasons or years or even sometimes a lifetime where we suffer in silence. We put on a happy, smiley face when we're dying inside. And just because you don't see it doesn't mean another person isn't hurting. A person's actions or behaviors may not be any indication of what is going on inside of them for them, what they're struggling with, what they're going through. They may be just trying to hold it all together for the sake of everybody else, right? Because they feel like everyone's counting on them, or they don't want to inconvenience people because everything is hard enough as it is, right? So this is key to letting go of judgment. It's just to remember, you don't know what's going on inside any person, what's going on inside a person at any given moment. Okay. Second thing, everybody's doing the best they can. Everybody's doing the best they can. And I know that's difficult to believe about another person. It's hard sometimes for me to believe that about other people, right? Especially when they're annoying or hurtful. But if we think about it, it's true, right? People are complicated. Life is complicated. There are a lot of moving parts inside and outside of a person. And we're all just a little off, right? We're all carrying our pain, our unhealed wounds, and the ways we protect ourselves and the other dysfunctions we've picked up on the way. I read the other day, somebody said, just remember when you need to have compassion because no one has yet to lay eyes on a functional, sane human being. And it was jarring when I read that. And I was like, that's actually true. That's a great way to think of it, right? Like, if I assume that none of us have ever laid eyes on a truly functional, sane human being, right? Then people are doing the best they can. It's hard. Being a person's complicated, and not just extend that to myself, but to everybody around me, right? And then that's another little bit of just laying down judgment. Right? Here's another thing. You don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. And I always worry when I meet people who are really prioritized about knowing all the answers, or even claiming they have all the answers, or confident that they can figure out all the answers, right? Again, you see this again a lot in toxic religion. And this is all about like an avoidance. It's about avoidance of the scariness of how it feels, the vulnerability that we feel when we realize that we don't have all the answers. But when you don't have the answers, all the answers, right? You can accept reality. You know, we can look at another person's life and just see all the stupid stuff that it appears they're doing, or the bad stuff it appears they're doing, right? And on the outside looking in, another person's life can seem really simple to us. When we have when we have the luxury of an opinion about someone else's life that we don't have to do the work of living, right? Life can seem really cut and dry to us in terms of what they should be doing or what they should not be doing or how they're handling a situation or whatever, right? It's amazing how quickly we just turn into this infallible life coach, right? When it comes to another person's life. Like Jill and I talk all the time about all the people that we've met for years and years who are so clear about what God's will is for everybody else, but then they're in constant turmoil about trying to figure out what it is for them and if they're in the center of God's will or not or anything, right? It's like because they haven't come to the place to accept that you don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. They don't, you know? With the journey that our family's going through, we find ourselves saying all the time to our kids, you know, no matter what, we'll figure this out as a family. No matter what happens, we're always going to be a family, right? That's really it, because we don't have all the answers and nothing is guaranteed, but we know that we can hang on to each other and we know that we can be in it with each other, right? That's different than having all the answers and securing ourselves with that, you know. Here's another way to be a healing presence is to, cultivating compassion also means cultivating empathy. And just remembering this simple truth. Being judged hurts. It hurts. It could probably be maybe even one of the most painful feelings that you can experience of being judged. The silent pain, the isolation of feeling misunderstood, rejection in the very moment that you need understanding, rejection in the very moment that you need love, rejection in the very moment that you need acceptance. That hurts. That can, in the right combination of things, make people just want to die, you know, which leads to this other truth about what it means to be. Then this is bedrock. Okay. This fifth thing, this is bedrock. If you are going to be a healing presence, every person, every human being is worthy of love and acceptance. Everyone is worth love and acceptance. Sometimes I struggle with this, in my work, because I see people who have made a lifetime of bad choices and now they're suffering, right? With a difficult medical condition, or they have made lifetimes of bad choices and it's harming their family. And that is so hard. And yet I have to remember, every day that every single person that comes in front of me is an infinitely valuable instantiation of human being, of the image of God, of eternal worth. No matter what they've done, no matter who they are, no matter what they're saying, no matter what they're doing, every human being is worth love and acceptance. So like we said at the beginning, when we judge, that leads to objectifying people. People are not objects. You have to remember, somebody on average ends their life every 40 seconds in this country. People will often show up in our lives at the end of their rope, hanging on by a thread. And so the expression of love and acceptance and understanding and kindness to someone who is struggling or hurting may be the difference between them giving up on themselves and life, or finding the courage and hope to keep living. This is bedrock to being a healing presence. Everybody is worth love and acceptance. Another reminder to help us let go of judgment and to cultivate curiosity and delight in other people, right, is judging others reinforces delusion. Judging others is a source of delusion. It makes us more insane. When we judge others, we're perpetuating toxic delusion on two levels. First, we're reinforcing the lie that a person can be reduced to our perception or experience of them in the moment or over some period of time. No one can be reduced to your perception or experience of them, period. That's the denial of the truth that every human being is fundamentally an expression of the one and same place that we all come from, right? In Christianity, it's called the image of God, right? And secondly, judging others reinforces the lie that we're separate, which masks the truth of our underlying unity, the fact that we belong to each other, that we're part of a greater whole together. I like when you read in science fiction how they say that human beings are the consciousness of the universe, that we are the universe become aware of itself and looking upon itself, right? We are all part of something much deeper and much greater. We belong to each other, and that deep sense of greater transcendent connection is not only the fundamental truth of who we are and to each other and with each other and what we all are, but it also is the external reality that helps ground us and gives us a sense of unshakable connection and purpose and meaning. And from there, we develop meaning. We develop our human creativity in all the ways that we make meaning and all the ways we express our values and all the ways that we embody our identity. It all flows from this. And finally, and this is just really practical. This is really key to being a healing presence, because we want to assist people, right? We want to be a healing presence with people. We want to be a growth fostering presence, as some thinkers that I like to say. Bottom line, real practical, judging people doesn't help you, and it doesn't help them. It doesn't accomplish anything. It's self-defeating. It's dead end. It's death dealing in every single way, right? It's useless. It doesn't get us where we actually want to be, which is what? Safe, loved, known, in harmony, right? You can't browbeat someone into healing. You can't berate someone out of shame, right? You can't look at someone who's broken and say, just try harder. What's wrong with you, right? Like if that tendency is not being addressed in us, right, then it's probably not helpful. It's probably not healing, right? Judging doesn't help you or them. We so often judge and condemn people from a place of superiority or from a place of revenge or a place of ego or bitterness or animosity. And that doesn't really help you or them, right? That doesn't get us anywhere. Superiority and revenge and ego and bitterness and animosity are all toxic, and they do harm to yourself and to others. It can temporarily feel good when you get at a person, but it actually hurts you, not just them, right? I mean, if you've been wronged or hurt by others, there's this natural feeling that we have, and we have a process of healing to work through, and there are actions and choices that we can take to do that. We can wish for growth and wholeness of others from a distance. Maybe, so that means maybe if you can't interact without passing pain towards them, then you have to withdraw and you have to move away from each other. You have to separate from each other for a while so that you aren't passing pain back and forth and keeping the cycle going over and over and over of adversarialness, of toxicity, of conflict, of harm, right? It's not, if you can't interact with people without wanting to harm people, then you just step away, right? So often in our conversations about justice, like people want to see punishment, but in reality, what people need is just a break. They need a breather. They need a buffer zone. They need time away from each other. And maybe that's a lifetime, but we can't be punishing each other. It's not our job to punish each other. And revenge and vengeance only harm the people who do it, And if there's a part of you that goes, well, I'll feel good forever about it. Then there's something really, really broken that you need to heal and we got to work on. So we can wish for the growth and wholeness of others from a distance, and in time, do our own work, right? Do our own work on resentment, animosity, and knowing that is what aids in our own well-being. So as an alternative to judging others, what we do is we're making unconditional compassion your way of being in the world. You can get interested in truly knowing and understanding people and the many different factors and conditions that shape and impact their lived experience. We let go of judgment to be a healing presence. We let go of judgment. We make room for compassion. We choose love, which means cultivating curiosity and delight in other people, right? Because we don't know what's going on inside another person. People are doing the best they can. We don't have all the answers. And we know that being judged hurts, so don't do it, right? And remember that every person is worth love and acceptance. And to remember that judging just reinforces delusions about how reality really works. And bottom line, judging people just doesn't help them, and it doesn't help you. That's all I've got today. That's it. It's good to be back and good to be together. And I hope you are doing great. Let me know how you are doing. I'm going to start sending out some friends. I'm going to start friending people more on Facebook, people who are part of our group. I want to start getting connected more and more again this year with you and seeing ways that we can help cultivate an imagination for transformation, what it means to cultivate being healing presences wherever we are. That's my goal this year. So let's get connected. And let's stick together as we continue to journey and grow together. Love you guys so much. Have a great week.